Hey everyone, this is Nicole Spires, Director of Communications here at New Earth, and I'm so glad that you could join me for today's Healthy Hustle. Living in a way that's eco-friendly can feel overwhelming and insignificant. After all, what can one person really do for this planet? Well, the answer is a whole lot. In fact, small actions by many add up in big ways, and our actions will either help or harm this planet. So what's the impact on this earth if we choose to skip sustainable practices? Amanda Provenzano helps us answer that question.
Um, what's the impact of forgetting the long-term sustainability of these things? What does the future look like without it?
Mm, I mean, I could be a doomsdayer right now with that question. We see it already. You know, our water supply is being heavily polluted with microplastics, right? With the food system that some of the foods that we're ingesting, people are finding like pieces of plastic in their, seafood, for instance. So it isn't, I think, when I was going to school many moons ago, uh, I was the only person in undergrad that was going for environmental studies. That was 15 years ago, a little less than 15 years ago. Um, and now this explosion of sustainability. So I kind of wanted to backtrack a little bit. So sustainability actually has three pillars. It's people, planet, and profit. So people is a huge aspect of sustainability, but it isn't marketed that way often. We believe that it's just about the environment and the environment needs to be cleaned up. But the actions of the humans are the ones that are impacting the environment. And if you start listening to the environment more and recognizing that there's a lot of things that she's in trouble with right now. So again, I'm going to go back to water, but I can also say, I can also say the garbage that we're seeing, recycling. So I was living in Seattle for the past couple of years, and they were having trouble, and I believe still are, with recycling because China was the one that was purchasing most of their plastics, and China stopped doing that the past year, about 2 years now, right? So we have most of the United States, there are no recycling facilities that would actually take the recycling. There are recycling facilities, but then when you separate out everything, what do you do with those plastics? And what do you do with the glass and the aluminum, right? When we have, businesses have done, consistently shipped jobs over manufacturing jobs in particular, over to China in particular, we then have no place to actually turn that plastic into some new product because China won't take it. That's like the cycle, right? Is we get the products. Mm-hmm. So we get the products and then we recycle it. And then there's a business that recycles it and then sells it to China usually, because that's where almost all the manufacturing for almost all of our goods is now done. But when you have the main source purchasing, stop purchasing from us, what do you do with all this plastic now? It goes into the landfill, right? It goes,
Wow.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That might be a bit of a shock to a lot of people because they may not have realized that, they're doing a good job separating things
Mm-hmm.
and doing their recycling, and yet it could potentially, right, be for naught.
Yeah, right. It depends on where you're located. So the interesting thing with recycling programs, it's based on your municipality. It's not based on your state or your even your county. It's really based on the people that are living local to you. So again, going back to what we were talking about is supporting your local farmers, but your local businesses, knowing the businesses that are there and then coming together and really helping your community there. Because I think with sustainability in particular, climate change, it is a big doomsdayer type of thing where it feels like it's super uncontrollable and we don't know what to do because oceans are warming and we're having a lot more extreme environmental impacts and weather events. And so it feels overwhelming and unmanageable. And so a lot of people will probably feel like they just should give up. But there are things where if you start focusing on yourself, and again, going back to that awareness and having gratitude for the things that you do have. And so often when I sit down to eat, I thank the people that grew the food, the land that it grew on, and think about how many people it probably took to actually grow this food that I'm eating, so that I don't have to do that. And so that I'm able to help people in through, or help people as I work as an end-of-life doula, so help people as they are transitioning. And I'm able to do all these other things because these wonderful farmers have been able to provide food for me. So I think, going out, if you're in a city, and for instance, going out to a local farm, because, I'm originally from Chicago, and the last time I was home, my mom and I went to a farm, and I had no idea that there was even a farm in the area.
Wow.
Besides the corn, besides the acres and acres of corn, that is most of Illinois, but, a local farmer that is growing diverse crops, because that's what's really important too for the soil health, is to have crop rotation, which means you are growing different types of crops based on the season, but also based on what those crops are going to be putting back into the soil in terms of nutrients and taking out of the soil. So the farmers are incredibly intelligent. Farmers that work with the land and listen to the land are incredibly intelligent people who know how to really support it and not take from it.
Wow.
How about that? Sustainability actually has 3 pillars: people, planet, and profit. It all starts with us, the people who live on this planet. As Amanda said, we are already seeing the impact our habits have had on this earth. It's up to us to change those habits. We get to choose how we live. So let's make it eco-friendly and preserve this earth for years to come. If you're interested in learning more about eco-friendly living, join us for our upcoming 2022 Earth Day Masterclass. You can find a link to the event in the description. Thank you all for joining me for today's Healthy Hustle. I hope you found a little nugget that inspires you to live a more sustainable lifestyle. We'll catch up with you guys on the next one.